All right, so we're going to do just 10.7 and take the test on this, and then the rest of chapter 10 will start after this. At the end of the quarter coming up, we're going to get in just this skill. This will be the last grade that goes into the grade book for this quarter. So we're starting our chapter on circles, and this is the one and only section in chapter 10 that has to do with circles on a coordinate graph. So we're going to talk about how to graph them and how to write the equations of them. So this is the equation of a circle, x squared plus y squared equals r squared, and r is the radius length. Okay, and we're going to talk about all of these different pieces of a circle. Let's just draw a picture quickly here. So this is the radius, starts at the center and it goes to the edge. What's the word for going all the way across a circle? Diameter. Circumference is the distance around, and we'll talk about that as well. So this would be the equation of a circle that is moved to a new location. So h and k are going to be the coordinates of your center. Okay, so the center of the circle is whatever those two numbers are. Okay, so they want you to write the equation of a circle with a center of -3, 5, and a radius of 6. So it's really as simple as dropping those numbers in. So we have x minus, we're going to subtract whatever our h value is. So if we subtract a -3, it turns into a +3, and that's squared. And then we're going to have y minus whatever our k value is, squared. And then it equals r squared. So this is our radius, 6, so we square that and we get 36. And that's all you have to do. It's the whole quantity squared, so you're not going to ever actually square those numbers. Other questions? Okay. All right, so we want to look at finding the equation of this circle. That's a different one. We'll do that second. All right, so we have a picture, and I'm going to ask you to do this on the test as well. I'll give you a picture of a circle and say, what is the equation of this circle? So we know that we need to take this equation right here. We need to put the center right by the x and the y, and then we need to square the radius. Okay, so what numbers would we put right here, right by the x? Would it be +4 or -4? It's going to be +4 and -2. Now, by looking at this, we would be able to tell where the radius length is, but not connecting these two because we can't tell how long it is there. But if you look at from the center right here and going straight out, you'll be able to count the radius as how long? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what's the number going to be here? You got to square that number and put 25. Okay. A different situation where we don't have a picture to go off of, but they do give us two pieces of information. We have a point on the circle, and then we also have our center, which we talk about as being HK. So here's our equation. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now the piece of information that we don't have is the radius. Okay? So we're going to solve for that radius right now. So we do know the center, so let's put our +3 here and our -2 right here. Okay, putting the center in there. We don't have the radius, so we're going to keep that as r squared. But where could we find an x and a y? Yeah, they're going to give you that other point right there. So this will be our x and y. So we have -7 and we have 8 that we can put in. Now we can solve for r. Okay, let's do this in our head. So we've got negative 7 plus 3, which is 4. 8 minus 2, 6. So we've got 16, 36. Add those together. 52 equals r squared. Now we don't actually have to square root this because we don't need to know the radius. The formula asks for r squared on the end, which is what we just found. Yep.
So that's finding the middle point and then the I'm so lost right now.
On what 52 is?
So,
We're looking for how long the radius is because we don't have a picture for us to be able to count it like we did here. So we're trying to figure out what number is going to go on the end.
isn't that what we were just doing before though?
Right here?
Yeah.
This one we were able to just count the radius as 5,
Okay.
so then we squared it right here.
Okay.
But this one we don't know the radius, so that's what we're finding. So now that we know this number, we can write our equation. We've got x plus 3, we're going to put the center in now, y minus 2, and we just figured out that r squared is 52. So we only have to do this equation solving right here if we don't know what the radius is. If we're able to look at a picture and count, by all means just count it and then square that number. But here we weren't so lucky to have that so simple. So you just use your center, you drop in the x and the y that they're going to give you, because they'll always give you that, and then you can solve for r squared. Questions on this before the last part? Okay, last piece of it is graphing. Okay, so they're going to give you an equation and they want you to graph it. Easiest way to do this is to just simply write what the center is and what the radius is. And I guarantee that you will make less mistakes if you actually write out these numbers. So looking at this, we're going to look here and here for the center. So what would I write as that coordinate? It's going to be positive 2 and negative 1. It's always going to be the opposite signs than what are in the equation. Because remember, you're subtracting those numbers. So here's our center. What's the radius going to be? And how are you getting 9? Not dividing by 2. You're square rooting that 81, whatever that number is. Okay? So you square root the number on the end, and that gives you the radius. So here's how you're going to need to graph these. You're going to go to 2, negative 1. And this is what I'm going to require for the test. You need to have 4 dots going up, down, left, and right that we're going to connect together as a circle. But each of those are going to be 9 units long. So we're going to go up 9. We're going to go left 9, down 9, and right 9. Okay, and then just do your best to make it not look like a square with round corners. I hope it doesn't look like a pentagon because there's not 5 points. Questions on this? No?